People, it's it's Monday, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm getting there you go. I don't know where you're getting the echo from. Got to pick that up. Okay. Get some feedback. Hold on, I gotta figure this out, y'all. This was a mess. The whole thing was a mess. Y'all know it was a mess. Okay, so let me bring in the proof. I'm just bringing the proof and we're just gonna go with it. Y'all, it's all four of y'all, but I can only bring in three at a time. So I'm gonna bring in three and then I tag out. Okay. There we go. No, no, no. I'm getting feedback. Let's just whip. Let's go.
Listen, listen. The way can I just need to just for 1 second. I first of all, how are y'all doing on this good old I think this is Tuesday, you
It-
know? I very this moment and excuse my language because Dana Bash just said it the best. This was a shit show. The I just can't fathom the level of the decorum that just was. I don't even care that he was arguing with the moderator. I don't even really care that he wasn't allowing Biden to speak because Biden was trying to speak, he wasn't allowing it. I don't even care. The thing that I do not like, and I just can't, this goes back to when I said about Hillary. Y'all can say what y'all want about Hillary, but y'all ain't gonna take from her credentials. Y'all can talk about Kamala all you want, but you ain't gonna take from her credentials, and you're not gonna attack as a black woman. I don't care what issues you got, but as my grandma would say, you will not talk ill of the dead. You will not. And secondly, you will not. Let me tell you something. If you wanted to see old school Uncle Joe, you was about to see him. Because if I don't know if y'all saw like I saw that he did one of those moments, I said, "Oh, it's about to go down. It's about to happen." I just can't believe it. I can't believe it.
I can. I
Oh,
can.
I was about to say I can't
I can't. I'm not.
believe it.
I can believe it because, like, look what he
Yeah, I'm
literally.
shocked. I'm really shocked.
He. I mean, I will say, you know what? Kudos to Biden because Biden. He literally said he was like, we could talk about your kids. That could be a whole segment. Biden was
He said a
very
whole.
smart and
He was
petty.
here. Let me tell you, he was here for the shits today. He was
He
here for the
had,
shits today. But he was, but y'all, we got how many more? I, in all honesty, I don't even understand. And like they said it earlier today, point in this juncture, we are about 30 days, I think, from election day or whatever. If you do not know who you are voting for, listen, there is no hope. It's nothing more that we can that they can say to you to sway your mind. There is nothing, there is just nothing that can be done. Because my thing is I don't care if you are a Democrat, if you are a Republican or a zebra. My thing is, at the end of the day, you have some sense of common sense, also some decorum, some tact, and some damn, one more time, common sense to show you that, first of all, like I said to this man in Starbucks today, you cannot say to me, if you are a waiter, that you got something in common with a man that literally has millions, got a check from his daddy for millions of dollars. If I go to my mother right now and ask for some money, you know what she gonna say to me? So I'm gonna Venmo you this, and then how much you gonna give me back when you go give it back to me? You trying to? Where am I getting $1 million loan from a parent, a black parent? Listen, Antonio, start this segment because I'm over it. Listen to me, y'all. My blood, like he was talking, y'all. He talked about, and maybe because I'm so sorry, but it was trauma for me. I watched my grandfather pass away from cancer. Day by day, I watched him deteriorate in front of my eyes. So my thing is I understand. And then my thing is, if you have a family member that been through that and you watch that as a family, that stuff hurt. Because you literally see the declines from them knowing who you are to then not knowing who you are. That man sat up there and said that your children, and when he asked for clarification, he said, who are you talking about? He said, Bo and Hunter.
Ooh.
Let me just say, and I quote, if we just wore masks between now and social distance between now and January, we would probably have saved up to 100,000 lives. Okay.
One more time. Say it again for the people in the cheap seats. One more
For
time.
the people in the back. If
the cheap seats.
Vice President Biden said, if we just wore masks between now and social distance between now and January, we would have probably saved 100,000.
Probably would have saved.
You know, this is the thing. Joe Biden attempted to give some substance tonight, but as I keep telling folks,
you cannot wrestle with crazy.
You can't. And I will tell people, 45 is a master of smoke and mirrors. He is a master of chaos, and he did what he needed to do tonight. He did what he needed to do, and I have to give him that because he created enough chaos to distract from. There was very little questions, if any, that he answered directly for an hour and a half.
Is that even, but even then, I get that, and I know Joy Reid brought that up today, where she was like, you know, when she was writing her book and talking about the Trump Tower, like someone talking about Trump Tower saying it's kind of run down, but then when you go to the Apprentice set, it's actually built very immaculate. And so I think for him, it's like it's the reality TV part. That's what it is.
Listen, but we've never taken away from the fact, like, as long as we've talked about Trump, we can say a lot about that man. However, we have never said that he is not a craftsman.
Right.
He's a craftsman. And the reason why I say that is because, see, people don't give that man credit, but he ain't dumb. He know what he do.
Oh, no.
And the thing is that I like what, it's not to say I'm going to like, but where I'm like, you smart. He said, and I quote, and this is me, facts. He said, and I quote, can you in this moment denounce white supremacists and all blah, 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 blah. He went through all of this foolishness and he said, well, what do you want me to call them? What do you want me to call them? He says, I denounce it, but we're not going to remain fact that so like my thing is, it's just like, I think for me, it's just that overall thought of like, y'all, we are in the twilight zone. We sat up there for an hour and 30 minutes. One more time. I'm sorry. I got to yell again. An hour and 30 minutes. They ain't talk about, y'all. They ain't talk about nothing.
I think.
Listen, Biden called him a fool, a clown, and a racist. The only thing he didn't call that man was a B word. That's it. That's it.
I feel like it was at the tip of the tongue. Like, you talk about my kids one more time, I'm going.
Oh my God. You know, and here's the thing.
He talked about Bo, y'all.
Oh
He
my
talking
God.
about
He
prom.
tried it. He tried it. He tried it with both of them. We looking at the history of drugs and its impact on America. It has touched every family in the country. And it has impacted greatly, whether we talk about it on the table or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was such a low blow in that moment.
It was nasty. It was
That was
nasty.
a
It
nasty
was
moment.
nasty. It was
And that's
nasty.
going to resonate with people,
No,
especially
it's not. It ain't. It's not. You know
looking
why
at
it's
the
not? Go ahead. Go ahead, girl.
so
Go ahead,
and
sis.
I will say with some, especially when we look at the impacts of the the meth problem in the country currently, and who it's affecting and how that has ravaged people, and so and those who have successfully been able to come back from that. That hit some folks, I think close to home, and that was on the side of Biden in that
Yeah.
moment.
But I
So let
think
me do this. Before we keep going, let me reset because I figured out what was happening with my audio and now I don't have it. So I want to welcome everybody who's a first-time viewer of the show. Welcome to the deep end. You got the election crew here, and I got a member waiting in the wing. So somebody gonna tap out and tap in a little bit here. But this is where we come. We're gonna be here for after every debate. Okay, so tune
I'm
back
holding
in.
this plant. I'm
Okay,
holding
stay
this
tuned. Right,
plant.
don't distract. Don't
This
distract
is
in the moment.
this
Don't
is
distract. Wait a minute, hold on,
this
hold on.
is
Hold on
look
now. I'm
look.
gonna have to do you like Chris Wallace now. Okay, friend.
Chris,
Okay, there we
we
go.
bring some
That's what Chris
already
Wallace needed. Chris
than Chris
Wallace needed a mute button. He
Chris,
could-
Chris, all of us could have moderated that debate better than Chris Wallace. I literally have trained some RAs that could moderate that debate better than Chris Wallace.
I told a friend, Letitia, I told a friend, I said, it doesn't matter how skilled of a moderator you are. You got the president who doesn't care about anybody's rules. Listen. So there
Did
was
you see
no.
him shout every time he was like, your campaign agreed to this?
Yeah.
Yes,
And he
like
stuck his lip out and
went off.
with his makeup. I don't know what makeup his people were using, but they probably should have used a black-owned brand that doesn't melt away
But y'all, we
from the
knew
camera
this was
light.
y'all. The thing that tripped me out, and then I gotta go back to what you said. Like, that's my plant. My mama gave me that plant, and that's one of my favorite plants. So I had to hold it for a minute to get myself together. But you said something that really struck me. And the thing is, I feel like this is the misconception of like how American politics is today. Back in the day when we had the Bill Clintons and the George Bush, that was an opportunity for people to might be able to poach votes and people from this here and that and the third. We are living in a time right now that there's no such thing. And the reason why I say there's no such thing is because back in the day, if that would have happened on that stage, that would have been silenced and cut already. It would have been deafening silence. You would have had people on both sides of the aisle saying how that wasn't right, this is not called for. But my thing is, it wouldn't have happened because people kept kids, no matter if they were grown or if they were bit, off the table. Ever since Obama, boop, once again got into office, it would seem like, oh, kids was free fair game, and that's when it changed. But the thing is that yes, so many people I don't really know if opioids is it hit black community as it should have, but
Oh yes.
my thing is, listen, but regardless of the fact of the opioid epidemic, you have all these different things, y'all. Like, we are in a time where like that don't phase nobody no more. So my thing is, all of that, people are gonna be celebrating that, and you gonna be, if you go on Twitter or something, you're gonna see memes of that, of just that, just it's no decorum anymore.
I mean,
I want to talk about the opioid piece, and I'm gonna go to Letitia. Opioids have been a thing We just haven't been calling it a thing until it affects certain parts of the population. And that's
Absolutely.
where the Black community has been distraught about. Drugs have been ravaging our communities for a very long time. But until, and let's look at the data, until this hit the white community and specifically white women in a disproportionate way, this conversation didn't become a national thing. I'm gonna go to Letitia. What you had to say on that?
I mean, I think on the opioid, well, first of all, with the whole not condemning racists and stuff, even Woodrow Wilson did that, and he showed Birth of a Nation in the White House. That's bad. You can't do that. And to the opioid thing, I would say it's, and again, my mom's actually with me. She's staying with me for the next few months.
Hey, mama.
No, she's in the apartment. I went to my office so I won't be too loud. So I think I literally think it's when he sat there and talked about Bo, I was like, well, he talked about a Gold Star family. He like totally disrespected a military man who was an Iraq war veteran who was there for a year and that sort of stuff. He literally like, it's not just like, you don't talk about those type of folks. And I know on my timeline, I have like some of my former bosses were on there and they was like this. I'm telling you this very kindly. My child's name comes out of your mouth. I'm coming out from that podium.
You catching these hands.
You won't catch these hands. My mama said the same thing. You gonna get it. So I don't think that it's just, I think it comes to a level of like, you gonna have some folks who are ignorant and they're gonna sit here and they're gonna say, oh, he did a good job. Trump won because he was the loudest. But I don't think that people saw he wasn't saying anything.
It was smoking mirrors. So let's do this. Let's get into the actual segments. And we're gonna move through a couple of these, and then I'm gonna tag one of y'all out, and Tamika's gonna come in here. So y'all know how I do. I have an agenda here. I don't know how much we actually even talked about this topic, but COVID-19.
Child, there was no, it's, you know what, this should have not been, it should have not been even a conversation, because at the end of the day, you're talking about facts versus assumption. Facts versus assumption. The facts are, under your watch as president, 200 and something thousand people are dead. Yeah. Regardless, there's nothing to change that. At the end of the day, they were mad when Obama, and like only when I think it was like 2 or 3 or 4 people died from Ebola. We lost 2. Y'all, do y'all even know what that? My mother sent me a picture because she's in New York. She sent me a picture of just what they were doing with people's bodies. Mm-hmm. So we lost 200 and something thousand Americans, Black, white, whatever, to this virus. And my thing is, no one has said anything about it. Here you are saying that, he wouldn't have done no better. Well, we don't know that, because all we can see right now is that you're in charge. So at the end of the day, I would have gotten more. Just say you did it by you calling it, like they say, the China plague, all this stuff, regardless of what plague it is, what name you give it. You are the reason why we are in this situation, because you've done nothing.
There were some gems dropped in this one that I got here on screen. The 1 in 1,000 and then the 1 in 500 was a very sobering moment.
And Biden, I will say this. Biden, as much as I didn't like him stammering and stuttering, he was prepared. Very prepared.
Numbers.
He had his numbers. He had facts. He had a lot of things. And my thing was like, the thing that Biden needs to do these next 2 ones is basically look in the camera and talk directly to people. Like, ignore him.
He did some of that tonight too. That was
perfectly. Mm-hmm.
I feel like those were his bread and butter moments when things were getting out of control. He nicely. We're not here to talk about that. We here to talk about how this is affecting the families at home. And so, like, trying to bring him back to one, which I appreciated as best he could.
Right.
I think for him, I think what made Biden really great was he mentioned where he was at. Like, we're at a top tier medical institution right now. They're not worried about you. They don't work for you. They did that stuff. So I think when Biden started attacking those sort of things, and you can tell it was getting under what is it, Putin's puppy.
You know, I enjoy your names. I enjoy the names you call
I
them.
didn't think that that's what Biden's Uncle Joe said that. He was like Putin's puppy. I was like, okay.
Who said clown, racist, fool, and
Putin's puppy.
those are the names, and I'm gonna go with all of those.
I'm not saying Team Mussolini anymore because Mussolini went to war. Biden, Trump never went to war. So Putin's puppy is a little bit nicer, but Putin's puppy was having a fit.
So on the COVID-19, who had the better responses?
It was Biden.
It was Biden, and I'll tell you why. Another reason why is because the moments where Trump could have been honest and given some like actual facts, like circling back around, like stop selling us these wolf tickets about this vaccine is going, we're weeks away from a vaccine, bruh. No, we're not. You know, and that has been consistent, like following the science. We're not there. You know, so stop it. And again, you leading folks in the wrong direction once again. You know, we have you on record saying that you downplayed this.
Yeah.
So why would I not think that you downplayed this? Either where we are.
But I think it's also to that point. I agree, Quiana, and I agree with DaShan too. I think that it's just indicative that like because like every time he brought up, like when he brought up H1N1, which started in the United States, and when he brought up Ebola, I was just sitting here, I was like, that, like they had a plan. They left you a plan. And what made it even worse was here's the moderator basically spoon feeding you the question.
Answers. He's basically telling you this is what you need to say.
Say this, sir, so you can win. And he literally didn't take the hint. It's like you, dude, like it's like you get on stage and you totally forget. It was actually for a moment where Putin's puppy sounded like an actual human at the beginning of this, and then all of a sudden it just went downhill.
Can I just say this? Chris Wallace was better prepared about both of their ideas than they were.
Absolutely.
But you know what? Chris Wallace has a history. Chris Wallace has, and let's be real, Chris Wallace doesn't do well, and this is off just historically, because I remember Chris Wallace in debates. Chris Wallace really don't do well with the whole trying to keep order. However, Chris Wallace does have his stuff together as far as this is information. So he makes sure he dissects everything that you say. But the thing, like you said, is that he gives you he says to you, and I quote, you said at this time this, your this. What was your, and he gives you the answers. And I look at it like, let me tell you something. It is nothing that Trump could do for me to make me change my mind about who he is as a person. Really can't. But literally, and sometimes I hope, just like how we will be respected as a race, but that's neither here nor there. But I literally have hope that one day he's going to wake up and say, you know what? I'm just going to tell the truth. Because my thing is, I'm just like this. In this moment, Quiana, if he would have came out and said, yeah, I messed up, so what? I would have been at least you admitted it, but you said, so what? But it's just the blatant, for me, it's the blatant disrespect for me. Like, I just can't get
he gonna keep lying. That's what he did with the tax question. That's what he did with the tax question. Like, bro, you didn't pay your taxes.
But even
millions of dollars in taxes. Bro, we all got, New York Times gave that article out for free. Like, we all have the receipts. Like, no, and I think like going back to, and I can't say that, like looking at the statistic, like the Centers for Disease Control, when H1N1 was first on the thing, first came to like April 14th, 2009, the Obama administration declared swine flu a public health emergency on April 26th. 2 days later after that, the Food and Drug Administration had approved a rapid test. I don't know if that would have been in the same timeline, just because like looking at, but we would have still been, this is the emergency. Here's what we need to do. Put your damn mask on, stay in the house, do what you need to do. If we would have had
it's really simple
that fast, because no one knew how to control it.
Yeah, Letitia,
But if we would have done that in and also stayed indoors and wore masks and washed our hands and socially distanced for about 3 weeks at the beginning, we wouldn't be in this thing. And by the way, because I have a bone to pick with Homeboy when he talked about he brought Big Ten football back, I'm gonna be the first to put this out there as a res lifer at a Big Ten institution. What? Stop talking. Like, bro.
I got questions. So he
I told, I told the people, y'all know, you saw my status earlier this week. I do COVID meetings every day with our team here. I know what happens, and I'm in contact with universities across the nation. I don't know why we're celebrating football when these players go to these games and they come back and they are quarantining and they are us, and we have these unknown risks that these players are exposing themselves to. So to celebrate sports, I'm gonna say sports in general right now, which collectively from my own experience, now I can't say widespread, but from my own experience, I know what we're dealing with because they live on our campuses. They're highly exposed to COVID more than any other part of the population.
And
now,
yes, they are.
I get that the financial piece of it, but Black and brown bodies disproportionately are being put at risk to go out here and play sports for your entertainment. And these college students who might be dealing with the health effects of these for long term, way past your 14-day quarantine period. You know what I'm saying? So
you know what? Because I even said, I was like, the NCAA is going to go bankrupt because if some of these players and they get that heart disease that they can't play the NFL and they were supposed to be in the league, I swear on everything, they're going to have a CTE. They're going to have a similar CTE fund like COVID. And you know what? A lot of these schools that are big ones are going to close down because they're going to be paying billions back to the players.
About if we would have done all of this in the beginning, and I think, one of my students that was in South Africa at the time, me and her were always in conversation, just trying to make sure, she's doing fine. Are you doing well? Because, her country shut it down. Their government said, you come out the house, guess what's going to happen? But why we can't do that here is because we are privileged. We are a privileged people. And the thing is, and I've told this to my mother all the time, the issue is not that people don't want to wear masks. The issue is that they were told to wear masks. And being that they were told to wear masks, they're like, you're not going to tell me what to do. That is really just the issue at hand. Because the data shows, if we want to, because for our people that love data and statistics, the data shows in the beginning stages of this virus, if we would have done, like you said, wash your hands, wear your mask, stay your behind in the house, you have nowhere to go, we would not be in this predicament. But what it is that we don't want to listen. But then once again, Biden, nothing but facts. Of course, smoke and mirrors. Here you go with gentleman puppy man. That it baffles me though, just because, sir, you should have just took that L and got to the next one, because it's nothing you can say. Because like Antonio said, there's audio. You said it. These are your words. It was a reporter of your choice, not nobody's choice, your choice, that you speak to him.
Who's his people? Like you said, like, what makes me mad about Putin's puppy is that he goes off and talks about how he has the best folks. If you really had the best folks, you would never have had that many hours unsolicited with Bob Woodward. Everyone knows that Bob Woodward is a great journalist. Everybody knows that he's like, no, that's the man who took down Nixon. Shut up.
I don't believe, I continue to say this, the man performed in the debate because he had to, but I do not believe he wants to be president. His marriage is over. His marriage is over, and we can see it from Melania.
Don't do that.
Her suit was nice today.
Oh, by the way, yes.
By the way, her suit was nice today. And Jill with the silk satin look, I appreciated that.
But let's be honest though, she still ain't give me a look since she accepted that Tiffany box. Ever since she gave me that Tiffany,
from day one. From day one.
She ain't give me no look.
Wait a minute now. That Carmen Diego hat was fire. That Carmen Diego hat that she had when she was in Korea was fire. That all white. I'm gonna give it to her. We just don't.
I think that I think you can tell he doesn't want it, but you also I think like what did he say earlier? He was like, Putin's puppy was saying straight up that he was like, I'm the president. I'm already prepared for this. No, you were not. Like that was not if that was preparation. I feel like the only thing about Chris Wallace was I feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger should have done it because he's the kindergarten cop. Because I feel like this was an argument with kindergartners.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Amy Cohen Barrett.
Y'all, can I ask a question? Can I ask a question for real?
Since when did Notre Dame become liberal? I just want to know.
Can I ask another question? Okay, with this Barrett woman, because I'm gonna call it this Barrett. Y'all, but y'all, can I ask a question too? Can we do two things? Can we talk about? I'm not even gonna go that route because Daniel Cameron, that just irked my throat. But never mind. But this, okay. So with this vacancy, you know, I said this the other day, and this might be a personal thing for me. After this election, I am gonna run a campaign of Black people to stop bailing America out from itself. And the reason why I say this is because here we are. We're fighting this battle. Oh, hey, mama. You coming to watch?
I was about to say, hey, mama.
That's my mom.
In the comments.
That's my mama.
Mama down in the comments.
That's funny.
On a serious note, seriously, though, I just think, you know, in all actuality, this is going to be this is going to be we can't fight this. It's going to happen regardless. But as we heard today, and I hope that the news cycles are picking this up and they're saying, because he said it out of his mouth. He said, and I quote, even though it was a lie, that Obama left all of these seats unfull, so he filled it. That was a lie. We all know that was a lie. He also said, I'm expecting this to go to the Supreme Court, and I'm expecting for these judges to vote. He explicitly said that he already know the deal. Trump playing the long game. The Republicans play the long game. He wants this Amy Barrett person on this thing because in hopes that she is going to vote for him, right? But the thing that baffles me the most, though, and it's so bad to say, and I keep on, like, I make the joke online and say, y'all, the Affordable Care Act, you in danger, girl. Roe versus Wade, you in danger, girl. I don't think people understand the impact that this woman getting on this stage is going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad Chris Wallace pointed it out because he said, and I quote, ooh, my girl Harris is on this screen. But, you know, Chris Wallace said, and I quote, that after the election, this is going to the Supreme Court as a ruling on it.
He wanted to. He's setting it up. And it was also misleading in the fact of when Trump said that the Obama administration left him all these judgeships to fill. And so all these seats. That is absolutely not the case. The Obama administration did everything in their power, including the Supreme Court seat, to fill it.
Quiana, say it's a lie. Say it's a lie.
Lies.
Thank you. We're not gonna say lies. No, it's a lie.
It's lies. Like the Obama administration did everything that they could to fill those seats. They were stopped at the door. You know, because let us not forget, like, we're not in the same situation, if not even not only the same scenario or circumstances, but further along than where we were when those seats were vacant and needing to be filled. You know, especially the Supreme Court seat. Like, we were
months.
We
days and days and days.
Leah died.
But I think, go ahead, Letitia. Go ahead.
But I think it's not even that. I just think that when it comes to the Supreme Court stuff, it has to, like, I love Joe Biden's answer because I was like this. He was like, I'm not answering that. He was like, I'm going to let you do you. And I'm not answering that question. I'm waiting to see what happens. I think that Amy Barrett Cohen, though, I saw a tweet from one of her former students at Notre Dame. And she was like, and that student said straight up, she's a great and amazing teacher, awesome teacher. But her jurist and how she does things is not what we need in this country. And that should be that. And I think that's a point. I also will say to folks about the Supreme Court, because if you don't think about Neil Gorsuch and Roberts and some of those people, y'all haven't paid attention to some of these decisions that they've made that have gone towards us. And we
Amen.
also need to start talking about also Deutsche Bank, seeing that we're now talking about the economy, and how Justice Stevens, who retired and that stuff, because his son has something to do with the dealings of that money. And that's something to that point that nobody wants to take about. And I think the thing is that we also need to start holding accountable to these media outlets who literally let this shit go down. We are here not just because of the Republicans doing stuff. We're also here because of people like Morning Joe, who sat there and gave him free press. We're here because of things like the Breakfast Club and other stuff, who literally they literally sugarcoated it more than saying this is autocratic, this is fascism,
Right.
lying, this is this. So
I will go to the economy, and because I always try to make sure that we bring it back to the bigger picture. And I saw this and I pulled it up because I said I need to read it verbatim. And I think it's so crazy because it was like Ruth Bader Ginsburg died of 4 days ago. Now the days, of course, has increased. After 17 years of service. One more time, 17 years of service. Decades on decades and some more decades of impact in the country, especially for women. And her job, it was filled within the weekend. So my thing is stop living for your job, because listen, because you will die on a Monday. Your dead body will still be warm and won't be cold. They will have your position posted by Wednesday, and somebody by that Friday, and your box packed for your family on that.
She could not even enjoy lying in state.
Because you already, soon as she died, Gobbleneck went ahead and put a state that was so tacky.
Can we talk about how she, like, can we actually give honor to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because she also died on her the beginning on Sunset, on her religious highest day. Like, what an honor. How to go out. I mean, yes, I'm mad that she didn't get to be able to retire and enjoy retirement, but like, to go out on the holiest day of your religion, the Day of Atonement.
Yes, and to also, let's say that she had to hold on until her death. The sad part that Ruth and she held on for the nation. And I am going back and I am watching The West Wing. For all of you West Wing fans, I am going back through the season right now, and I just gotten through to the point where he was replacing his first Supreme Court nominee. So all of it was very timely. But that Ruth had to hold on to her dying breath to literally fight cancer tooth and nail for the sake of the nation, to get as close as she could to the election.
Plural. Cancer after cancer.
Cancers, yes.
Cancer after cancer.
So I think that too is the sad part. But I want to get here to the economy and what little we did talk about the economy, because we rolled over that too.
Rolled over.
I mean, I think he just, again, talking about, I think the one thing about the economy, and again, Biden came prepared. As always.
He said he had never been to a suburb. He wouldn't know what a suburb was.
Right. I think it was funny. He was
like, he don't know what a suburb is.
I just think it's sad to see, just like, you know, when it comes to the Republican Party, and I haven't seen what Republicans have been saying, except for those who are on the fringe and the far right, like Ann Coulter on Twitter, who was saying just whatever she was saying. But I think it's just something to that level where it's like, there's too much, like, you could, like, again, here's Chris Wallace feeding you the answer. All you have to do is repeat the question.
Right.
It's simple. Repeat the question, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just think it was just amazing for me that, and like you said, like, overall, and we're probably going to continue to touch on this, Biden came prepared regardless. This was literally the time, if you wanted to talk some stuff, it was for you to talk your junk. you literally had a stage where people was watching really to see how you was going to do, Mr. President, to see what you was going to say. And all you did was, as your mother said, when you went to the grocery store, don't touch nothing, don't go off this. You basically touched the whole shelf, knocked over every piece of chip on the floor because you wanted to show your tail. So what it is that you was not able to provide us with any supporting details. If this was a research paper, you ain't provide no type of supporting details.
How do you plagiarize the economy though?
Ooh.
Like, that's essentially
and I was thankful. And I was thankful that Biden said, we set you up. Biden made sure he said it. He said, we set you up.
But it was
all of this.
But it was a moment. It was just a drop. I'm telling you, the master of smoke and mirrors passed over the moment so quickly that if you weren't watching and paying attention, you passed over it. And so I will give it to what's his name, the former governor who was on CNN, Republican governor. Santorum called Trump's tactics. He said he's going to come out on the attack for 90 minutes. And it was a 90-minute attack. And Joe Biden had prepared to be a statesman. I don't know. I'm okay with a little street fight.
I mean, but I think also on top of that, because I think again, just seeing Joe, like when Joe said, will you just shut up?
Yeah.
That's when the statement kind of walked out and was like, okay, I'm Uncle Joe. Like I can't go back and do this stuff anymore with you.
Right.
And
he had
stuff
filter a little bit at that point.
But he did it balance. Be very honest. Nobody, because everyone would say, we need to see that spark. We need that speed, that spunk. And the thing I will definitely say is that Uncle Joe, he was Joe Biden, Uncle Joe, Joe Biden, Uncle Joe. He kept going back and forth. However, I think I'm to that point though now where it's like the next two debates, baby, we don't need it. My thing is, Joe, what you should do in your plan, you and your team should get back together after these numbers come out and you see how it looks, even though these numbers are very arbitrary. It's not really much. It is what it is. But I would literally sit back to say, this is a waste of time. Because what you could be doing is holding your own little, Antoine, and I know you're going to say, but is it? But my thing is, it's a waste of time because at the end of the day, we already know how Puppy Man is going to act. We don't need Joe. I love Joe to death. But y'all already know when he gets in front of cameras too many times, he starts doing a lot of different things.
I mean, again, he also said we got that fucker. We got that fucker good.
And listen, and I appreciate that. But see, the thing is that at this point, it's like, y'all want to sit around 2 more debates with this? Because I can't.
I agree, DaShan. I think there's a good strategy here that Joe should turn this into governing. He can turn these next 2 debates into preparing the platform to govern. And so, I mean, the smoke and mirrors of 45 will still be there. But I don't understand how someone can still be undecided at this point. Maybe that's me.
Well, on these 2 things alone, right? One. When we get to talking about racism, that shit, what you put in our group chat?
Look, I ain't got time. Don't y'all do me. Leave me alone, y'all.
And it was like, you got rid of racial sensitivity training because it was racist.
He said, I got rid of sensitivity training because it was racist. Listen,
y'all. I can hear. Hold on. Go ahead. So
that was issue 1. And then
he said racial sensitivity training was racist. That's like saying safe zone training.
He don't know that there are people out here getting whole degrees in it. He don't know.
Right.
He don't know. And so then there was that. And then the conversation around the Proud Boys, the stand back and stand by, and give me a name. We'll give you a name for it. And this and that. And I was like, but you won't condemn them? Use your words. Like, what?
Use your words.
I have a 3-year-old nephew that could probably use your words. Use your words, sir.
Use your words. Be smart about what you're smart about. But guess what? We already know. Like you for them. That's what you down for.
I like Joe Biden's answer though. Joe Biden had a
Or
systemic racism. He literally brought it up, and then he shut down the Antifa. He was like, Antifa's not a group. It's a thought process. Anti-fascist is a thought process. And I was like, okay, Joe, thank you.
That's from Joe's time hanging with the folks over at Delaware State.
I'm
Y'all know my favorite meme.
man
You
said,
know, that's what he meant. That's what he meant. He got his
"You didn't go. You didn't go to
State.
that." I said, "But he went to school. Where?" I wanted to be like, "Sir, where you went?" I'm just curious. Where you went?
back at
Well,
Fordham
and it was a misconstrued.
Go to Warden. So quiet.
God, it was a mess. It was funny, y'all. He said social sensitivity training is
Right,
racist
right.
across
All right.
America. Higher ed person said, "What?" I'm confused.
Chris Walls literally was like, but isn't that not like good for your help make it like I feel like Chris was like, make it make sense, sir. Like
Absolutely.
As they say, you can hear a mouse piss on the ceiling. I said, "Wait a minute,
Look,
what?"
I'm gonna bring in DaShan. I'm gonna tap you out and have the women's panel.
That's all right.
Always a
Love y'all
joy.
much. Listen, love y'all. Y'all know me. Antonio, you do good because you know my bedtime.
I
be
know
like,
your
"It's all right,
bedtime.
y'all."
I'm
'Cause I
always
be
look. Judge Judy.
Y'all, it was fine, but low key, I'll be ready to go to sleep.
Yes. All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye, people.
All right. Y'all, we're gonna bring in Tamika. Come on in, Tamika. Come on in here. Talk to the people.
Hello, beautiful people.
hi, big friend person.
We can hear you.
I know. I was like, wait, I'm repping Big Sis.
You're not on mute on my end.
What?
Okay,
You're
you
on
know
mute on
that's
your
my alma
end.
mater.
Unmute
So
yourself on your end.
What'd you say?
You're on mute on your end. Yeah. Okay, she's switching audio. Let's she'll jump in the conversation when she switch up her audio. But you hear and we see you. So I'm reading some of the comments. Aaron said that the Proud Boys are already celebrating what they mentioned by their boy. Yeah. Yes, Tamika is here. Dina, we appreciate it. It's so much love seeing your mama out here supporting the babies. Okay.
I know. I
So
saw my
much,
mama.
so much love.
I don't know if she's still on.
Lakeisha says, but seriously, he signed an executive order to end diversity and inclusivity training. He can only end it in federal contracts, right? The same thing that Joe Biden said about his mask policy. So Tamika, just jump in whenever and see if we can hear you.
Can y'all hear me now?
No, I can't hear you.
I can hear her.
Y'all hear her?
Yeah.
Y'all can hear her, but I can't hear her. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I was confused because as soon as she
Okay, now I can't hear anybody.
Oh.
Okay, so it's me.
It's you.
Oh, it's me. Okay, I know what it is. I think I know what happened. I know what happened. Okay.
And we can hear
Try
you.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's me. It's something happened over here on this end. Child.
It's me,
That's
oh
what
Lord.
happened. Let me go. It's on me. It's always my audio. This happens every day during my Zoom meetings. My team be like, what the hell is going on with your Zoom?
Because I'm like,
y'all keep talking. Go ahead. Let's pick up on this next topic. I'm gonna start with you, Tamika. Race and violence. What's your thoughts?
you mean Law and Order? We need Law and Order in our Law and Order. I have been struggling with, and I get mad at Fox News, like even Chris of pushing back of like this idea of like, how do you put as the president, like you oversee and govern over both Democratic and Republican cities, people, whatever. So this idea that he continues to be like, oh, well, in Democratic cities, it's blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, that's not how this works. Like, no matter what, it's over you are over all of the things. Like you can be.
Because how do you explain Tulsa?
Right? Like you can't be the VP of Student Affairs and be like, you know what? That's housing over there. That student life was blah 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 blah. No, like you are over all of it. If you're the president of a university, you're over all of it. If you are the president of the United States, you're over all of it, no matter what they are repping. So the fact that he kept pushing the fact that in democratic cities and democratic cities and democratic cities and democratic governors, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, that just.
I think it's just I think it's a lame I think it's just not even it's just an excuse. It's excuses. I ain't Greek. I am not in any Greek letter organization, but I feel like y'all quote this in some sort of that firm of excuses or tools.
Excuses are tools of incompetence.
Yes.
Those who use them build monuments of nothing. They seldom amount to anything. Come on.
Whoa.
I'm just saying. So it's something to that.
No, don't let us supervise a Greek and they don't be doing something. I'm like, what's our excuses?
Ooh, now I'm back.
I think it's just something to that level of just race, like, and I think it's something I think what made that conversation just fascinating with Biden was that Biden was like, you're not even making low note to the people who are coming in and provoking these people. So he mentioned Kyle Rittenhouse. He was like, so you're not going to talk about Kenosha, Wisconsin? You're not going to talk about how somebody just crossed state lines and went and shot someone, and these so-called Christian organizations.
He don't want to touch that.
$1,000 for these.
He would be like, it's mostly liberals doing that, and I was like, why?
I'm liberal. I'm liberal. I don't own a gun. I mean, my family's some gun-toting folks, but I don't own one. But it's just something to that level where it's like y'all make it seem like this stuff is like the right. Like,
but you didn't hear Kyle was just protecting himself. He was defending himself.
By getting in a car, driving across state lines.
You defend that shit at home at your house. You don't go over to somebody's house. Like,
that's the argument his family is pulling right now. He was.
I'm gonna go to jail too, because that's child endangerment, in my honest opinion. That's abuse.
Yeah. Did you also notice that Trump did not answer the question that Chris Wallace had about black
not at all.
African Americans? He pivoted to other things, and so you have nothing for black folks, nothing at all.
You have a platinum plan,
and keep Chicago out your mouth. Chicago. I was like, where is Auntie Lori? He was like, what they doing?
I know Auntie Lori's at home. Why can't Auntie Lori be?
I was like, where's Auntie Lori? I was like, come on.
You know who's the moderator? The mayor of New Orleans.
I think these mayors, though, are in, especially of these large cities where things at broad, right, continue to happen, can't respond in a way that they want to right now because they know that he's going to tie their responses to some funding of something that they're going to need. You know, these large cities always need federal funding for any type of emergency. So I'm just like, crazy, just crazy.
I think it's just to this point. He doesn't like what was the report in 2016 that they had folks called defector. They marked like 3.5 million black folks as defectors, saying that their goal was to get them to not go and vote. That says a lot. Like people, that's what people like. I like again, like what DaShan said earlier. Why are you here? Why are you not undecided? Like the choice is simple. And I guess like people are talking about, well, Joe's this, Joe or whoever, it could be whoever. My biggest thing that I have a problem with when it comes to this is that someone will say, well, Hillary Clinton would have did this. I was like, Hillary Clinton would probably have ran this country 5,000 better than where we're at right now. Yes. We are right now in the crypts of a depression.
Yeah.
Our economy is going to go. Every economist is saying it. It's going to burst. The economy is going to burst, and we're going to see that. We're going to see it. But on top of that, with him not saying anything about black people, it's just something to that level where it's like you're a clown, just like what Uncle Joe said. You're a clown. I mean, you're a human, but you're a clown.
Yeah. I mean, he's orange, so he's a clown. But it's to the point of like you can't separate folks into these different things, and then to even bring up, like he was bringing up Hillary Clinton, he was bringing up, I'm like, you're bringing up folks who don't got shit to do with anything, right? Or even the fact that like he kept pushing when he would be like, well, Joe, you've been in Congress for blah blah blah. Bitch, he's not the president. He's been a member of Congress at different levels.
Yeah.
Like,
You're the
you are
executive.
the president. You can
Right.
sign
Yeah.
executive orders and make this shit happen.
But here's the game. All you know, who's been in office the last 4 years?
You mean
Thank
three
you.
3 years and a few months?
3 years, 2 months. You have. Like, so
But he ain't taking responsibility for nothing.
because how much more, at what point does it become your responsibility and pushing it off on someone else's?
After the first year, traditionally, right? If we're talking anecdotal, after that first year is over with, it's your everything
Mhm.
is yours. And we did it to Obama. We definitely did that to Bush,
Mhm.
and Clinton, right? I mean Clinton. I mean the years in terms of Democratic, they were good years. The
But I mean,
Clinton
it's
years.
just also they did it for what is it? They did it for Daddy Bush. They did it for Reagan. They
Mhm.
clowned Carter and that sort of stuff. So like, it's just something to that level where it's like, yo, you decided to go for this. You know, what do we say? You made your bed, now lie in it. That's
Yeah.
what you did. And I mean, I think it just comes to it comes to a level of like, when it comes to Biden's thing. Oh well, you had 47 years. Also, but I was like, this, sir. Biden in his first term as VP helped with the economy that was busted because of the fact of the Great Recession. He also helped with the first round of diseases and also manned the Ebola team. Two pandemics. Two. He didn't shut down no government for no two
Yeah.
pandemics. Like when I hear someone say, I didn't get no $1,200 check from who is it, from President Obama. I was like, you're right. You didn't get a $1,200 check because your ass had to go to work because they already had that stuff taken care of because they knew what to do and they followed the science, which goes back to my problem with Trump is that you don't want to follow the science because you want to be
Mm-mm.
big and bad. And which also leads me to the case about his little record with the holding rallies. Not a mention about the black man who died at
No,
the rally.
no,
Herman
Not a
Cain.
mention.
nah. Herman Cain got no love during this or even at the convention. I said, wait, y'all don't give your homeboy not even 2 seconds to be like, let's
Nope.
honor him and the things that he did. No,
No, not at
nothing.
and
He was
I was
not mentioned
like,
in any way, shape, or
bruh,
form.
all your rallies wasn't outside. You lying.
Yeah,
Y'all and then airplane hangars can't hold thousands of people.
no.
That ain't what you had.
And see, I think this goes to the trouble of the debate, right? Trump goes on the offense with his lies that pivots Joe Biden in a place where he has to or to consider countering, right? To put the truth
Hmm.
back out there. Because how long do you let the lie stand out there before you address it, right? Like how long do you let it continue on? Because some people haven't been tuned in to what's been going on. So you don't really get to your points because you're too busy defending the lie. And then you never get to the agenda, which we never got to. I don't think
We
any
never really
agenda.
solved or had a full agenda moment. Like Chris
No,
continued trying to push them, but
Yeah.
they never got to answer full questions because Trump just kept going and going and going.
Interrupting, interjecting. Yep.
I
Yeah.
couldn't. I think someone was like, I think it was funny. One of my staff members text me, and they were like, "I already know you would have like went ballistic because that person, like, if he interrupted you, you would have been like, don't interrupt me,' because they're like, that's your
Mhm.
favorite. That's like the tone of the voice, and I think it's just something to that level again." Where my thing with Chris Wallace is when he talked about the healthcare plan, he was like, "You've been saying you've been having a," and
Like,
Chris
what's your health care plan?
getting on him since. Ever since he got in office, Chris Wallace is like, "Where's the plan? Where's the plan? Where's the plan? Where's the plan? You ain't got no." The thing is because Republicans ain't got no plan. That's the thing.
No. But to point that out, like, so Randall just put something about like some people are watching this and don't get the fact check at all, right? But when I remember starting to watch this, like one of the first things that hit me was like, thank God I'm smart. Right? Like I literally was thinking that to myself because there are so many people, especially people who believe these lies and like people are gonna go and say, oh, Trump won this debate, Trump won this debate, just because he was the loudest person. But like literally, he continued to lie and lie and lie and give all these falsehoods that even like Chris tried to like push him on. But like folks who are diehard Trumpers, American people are not going to hear. Like he just gave you BS, number one, and then number two, there's this piece of like you wouldn't allow no one else to talk to you like that in real life. Why are you okay with your president talking to his peer like that in real life? Like there was just a piece of me of like, if I was up in the streets or somebody came to talk to me like that, I'd be like, whoa, yeah. Let's bring that down a few notches. Like just that piece. And I'm like, how are people not upset at minimum by just that alone?
And again, I give Chris a lot of grace because there's this piece of upsetting the office of the president, right? He again, it's you want to defer to the highest power in the case, right? He's still the president, right? And so the narrative won't be against Trump. It will be that Chris Wallace, right, didn't allow the president to speak.
But that's all. But that's the media's fault. They should have started. Like, I'm sorry, I'm still angry about these. I'm not angry. I'm pissed.
You could be angry.
Well, I'm angry about the taxes, because you mean to tell me I get paid to every higher ed person get paid tomorrow. In a few hours we get paid. I'm gonna look at my pay stub and I know for a fact that within 1 month I pay more taxes than that man did. And my money pays for his lights. You mean to tell me that he has this amount of debt and this sort of stuff, and people are like, well, you gotta respect. No, my money pays for your paycheck. Sir, I will talk to you in any manner of speaking. And that's where I'm at right now, because it's at this point, like, there has to be a moment where the people and where the media and where folks can be like, that is bullshit. You are full of yourself. And I feel like Chris Wallace was itching towards that, where he was like, if you don't quit with this mess and let this man have his 2 minutes, which, by the way, shout out to Auntie Maxine, because he was like, I want my time back.
I guess that made my heart so happy.
Biden reclaimed his time. There's something to that level where, you can tell that Kellyanne's not there. You can tell that Kellyanne ain't there, because Kellyanne would have had him. It just blows my mind. But I think it's something to that level, like Antonio, kind of like what we talk about with this COVID with our students. I always ask the question: when do we start discussing about personal responsibility? When do we start telling students, yo, we have been telling you this since June, you got to follow these rules, and you don't follow them? So you know what? Guess what? You're gonna be kicked out of Red's life. I don't care at this point, because you're not listening to us. So when does personal responsibility of the president and the media and all these people who sat there and defended him come into play? You sat here and told us that this is what this man gonna do, and you mean to tell me that he has this much debt? You can't even get a top secret security clearance with little debt.
This is the point about the civil unrest, right? There are small pockets of people who are fed up and tired, but it has not reached a breaking point or a tipping point. And by the way, if you have not read The Tipping Point as a book, this is a great example of what happens. Even though that's talking about it in business, the scales have not tipped here into the place where people are true. We say we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, but we have in this country history of people being sick and tired and sick and tired. And so until we start marching on bridges like John Lewis did and willing to get in good trouble in the masses,
first time we was tired was this summer.
Yes.
From a long time,
when everything was taken away, like everything has to literally be stripped away, and you got nothing to do, and so you got time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and with 30 million people out of work, people have time to be upset and to go. And I think this, as long as we are balancing between taking care of self, taking care of house, and then taking care of the country, right? People are always going to choose to take care of self in the broad sense, I think. But we haven't gotten to that point yet when we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. I think when we see the people really taking back their government, and I hope it happens in this election, I hope it does, right? I think we'll see some other points. But because of time, I'm gonna move to this last piece. He profited the fraud in the election.
Oh, I still haven't got my mail-in ballot, Pennsylvania.
I got mine. I got mine.
I need to call my roommate and see what's at the house.
But you know, I think what Putin's puppy said kind of just made me. Oh, look, I'm just with it.
I know that's the name of the night. I love it.
I want a mask that says "Will you shut up?" I want one, Joe Biden. I want it on a shirt. I will wear it. But I think that with the integrity of the election, I think that it's going to be a lot of folks. My older sister, shout out to Julian Tajuba. She's on this project down in Georgia where she works at Salesforce, and it's a lot of Black tech folks who are going to be working polls and that sort of stuff. And so she just sent me the video. I love it. I saw it on Twitter, and I was just eking because when I heard her voice, I was like, "Oh, you went on TV, sis. That's cute." But I think it's something to that level that there's a big problem, and the problem is that we now have folks. We have Russians who are now coming in, and they're messing with our accounts. They're messing with ballots. They're messing with mail. They're messing with all that stuff. Pennsylvania right now has still been in a lawsuit about ballots. I think it just did. So I think it's something to that level where the integrity, it's just a lot. And then to know also to the setup of what we talked about with the Supreme Court earlier, it's also understanding that they're looking at Republican state houses that are ran by the state house, where it's like, hey, by the way, if this happens, then we're going to call all of our electors faithless electors, and we're going to decide where our electoral vote's going to go to, and it will go towards Trump. So he's looking at, I think the integrity is not much on the Democrats' side. I think it's on the Republicans. I think the Republicans are going to try to cheat no matter what, even though I don't think that homeboy wants the job.
I mean, they have cheated in multiple elections, right? And for our times being alive, like we have seen this multiple times, where the Democratic candidate has gotten more votes than the Republican candidate. But still, we've got to see this 2 good times, already. 3. So I had to think back a little further. But so I don't think it was an issue literally like mail-in ballots. The thing that was pissing me off with Trump, and I wish Chris would have pushed him more on, is like this idea of like random ass mail-in ballots, and people like just throwing ballots at people, like someone is just tossing this ballot at your head, like you're walking down the street and like somebody's on the side, like, hey, you want this ballot? Where it's like actually a process of like you have to, even if it's just going to a website, going like send me a ballot.
Yeah, Wendell asked the question why we don't think he wants the job. I think this goes back to 4 years ago when he was on the campaign trail. Trump did not get in the race to win the race. He got in the race to influence the Republican Party and
get money.
Yeah, and money, right? Money, fame, and popularity. And I think that he thought at that point, okay, we all thought that Hillary was a shoo-in. And I think you see an unprepared person with an unprepared administration, right, move into the White House and try to fumble their way through, and just very unhappy with the job. I think if you look at Trump's comments over the last 4 years, you see glimmers of moments of when he has tried to, I think, in my own say, sabotage himself, right? By the way that he has talked.
I mean, look at the longevity of, like, he got commitment issues.
Yeah.
The fact that he is locked into this commitment, because it's also an ego thing. If this 4-year one and done with like no, like whatever, he would be so gone and on to the next. But his ability is, he's stuck. He's stuck in a sense of, I have to do this because this is what it is, and doesn't want to be a loser is
right.
In that way. And so if there was an out, he would definitely take the out.
But I think also if he can't take the out now, because what did we learn in the New York Times? His bills are due. His loans are due. The Russians gonna come get they gonna come break your legs, sir, because they ready to come and get you because you owe them however much money and that sort of stuff. So like he doesn't. I don't think he wants to go to jail. Like he doesn't
Yeah,
want to prison.
I would agree with that, and I don't think so much about like him not he doesn't want to do the job. He just wants the power of the job in the role,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's the power piece. So that's why we
Right. If
potentially
he,
have these
he can have
conversations
all the
about him,
notoriety.
right? About like the dictatorshipness of him, as far as like how he tries to rule, all some of the things that he says and does, and people go like, did you not take civics? Did you not take government at all? There's an issue when, to be really front that, like, not to this, and I have mad love for her as an artist, but that Cardi B can sit there and explain more about how government is ran than the president of the United States, right? So if we have someone who's just a high school graduate who can go in and talk, and an government teacher can be like, yeah, she knows her business. She'd be like, and she can explain, and then he can explain how government functions. We have a problem. But yeah, for him, I think it's for one, if he isn't president, like I think there's a high possibility that he could go to jail. I mean, go to prison. Let's just use the right terms. Go to prison. And his family members when they shit comes out, because the layers are going to start falling. And then two, it's just that power piece, right? Like folks stay in relationships are, in crazy situations because of titles.
Yeah.
I think also he's sorry, Antonio, but like I think also for him, it's what's that word? I think it's he like when we look at like when Justice Ginsburg was laying rest and he went to visit and it wasn't in his normal space and them folks were booing and trying to vote him out and he like you saw Melania, you didn't even see Melania was like way in the back, like I'm back here because I already know these people don't want to see us here, not at all. And I think it's something to that level where I remember one time when he was when they were talking about at the beginning of him like thinking about running and stuff, he said that he just saw all the balloons falling and he liked that. So he likes the attention and like he wants to
Why are you like a toddler?
like
it is.
The balloons.
It is.
Look at all the pretty colors.
oh, balloons.
It is.
Man.
So we Kamala is up next.
Yes.
Kamala.
Uh,
that will go over as a debate. Like
yes. I'm excited about that.
I need Kamala. I'm ready for Kamala to just eat that.
That will be a debate.
I just want to see if there's like his wife is really close by, because he can't be alone with the woman. So I just
I'm not with you today.
Right. She beat me to it because I normally say it like, so Karen's gonna let him go and do this, even though right now he's not in the good graces of Karen either.
Wait, is her name Karen though? I
didn't know that either.
I'm just saying, I think it's either Karen or Kathy. It starts with a K. That's all I know. But I said I went with Karen. Because I know
somebody let us know what's Mike. What's Mike?
Yeah.
I'm ready for it to be I'm ready for it. I'm
ready for a real conversation, right? Like if we're gonna debate, like there's the academic part of me, right? To be like, let's actually have a real debate, because this is what, like, today wasn't a debate, it was a yelling contest.
I don't even know if I call it that. Today was something.
Let's just own that. It was something.
It was something. A dumpster fire, a hot mess in a dumpster fire.
I think this was just a fight that just ended up. I didn't say to end up in a draw, because I think Biden did exactly what I kind of said what we needed for what happened with FDR and Hoover. Like Trump acted just like Hoover, and from a historical perspective, Hoover just sat there and just kept cowing around, and here's some good old FDR talking about, this is what I'm going to do for y'all and that sort of stuff. This just happened on the radio. So I don't
think anyone, if anyone is not decided, I don't know how that's a thing.
I don't understand either, but there are people who say that
there are people who don't know. I don't think if you were undecided that this helped change your mind one way or the other, basically. Unless you were like, oh my God, this man is crazy.
And the shit show today, as CNN so eloquently put it, like, this is what that was,
Yeah.
She was like,
Again,
be
talk about
cruel,
the
but it
kids.
is what it is.
I hope if my hope for the next presidential debate though is that if Trump does decide to go after Biden's kids, I hope Biden lays him. I hope he talks about all.
No, you know who I want? You know who I want? I want Dr. Jill to get up from her seat, throw her shoe, and knock them fuck out. Like old school. Like, I'm not even talking about my babies.
I'm just saying. I think that it's something to that level again where I think that a lot of the undecided voters are people who sit here and they're kind of like, to answering your point, Tamika, they're not the most, I'm not saying that they're not educated, but they're not the most civically educated. And so they don't really technically understand what's going on. They just hear certain things and then they just run with it. So like the thing that he was talking about with climate change, he's a science denier. That's the other thing I didn't understand about this debate. Why is science?
He would not admit it. Like, come on, man. Like, seriously, like, would not say anything that like nature, science, nothing.
Yeah. But I do wonder about like I don't know if any of you have any colleagues or students or anything like peers that are like F both of them, you know, like the Democrats ain't been doing nothing, the Republicans aren't doing anything, like blah blah blah. And I hear them, I do. But I also have always been a person when I vote, I don't think about just me. And I know that's not as American as it should be. But yeah, like I think of more like knowing that my decision affects like whole bunch of folks. So,
but I think
I do know some people who have allowed the chaos to get to them, and they're totally disengaged. And I spent before the night started, you know, on the phone with some folks and just like, no, you need to go out. Like, where's your mail-in ballot? You need to go and you need to vote, and you need to vote this way. And you know, just
I have family members who are like, oh, the Democrats are just this and this and this, and I've lived through it. Okay, cool. Are you still voting? Because these folks, I'm sorry, you're on a lot of chunk of land that has oil that hasn't been touched by fracking. Why are you not voting? This is they're going to come for you. They're not like, it's something to that level now where it's just kind of like certain things just shouldn't be up for debate at this point.
And I'm not above vote shaming.
Oh no!
I just want people to know that I am the one who will vote shame you. So don't expect that civility. I'll be civil about a whole lot of other things, but too many of my people have died for the right to vote, and especially for folks who look like me. Oh yes, I'm coming. I'm definitely coming for you.
I was like going on my Bumble, and I see people who say non-voter. I'll be like, swipe. I ain't talking to you. I'm not talking.
No, I'm not saying why.
There was one dude in particular, like he slid in my DMs on Instagram, and he said, "You talk about voting and stuff, and I see you on this thing." And he's like, "I just don't vote," and I'm like, "So we're not talking. You should just watch my Instagram and not even do anything because we have nothing to
peace and blessings."
Peace and blessings.
Right. But I think there's this piece with people and with Americans a lot, right? For some reason, too many of us think like it won't happen to us. Like it won't be me.
Yeah.
So like when it comes to like the idea you just talked about, like the fracking thing and you know being on a land that like or people like, well, like ain't nothing gonna happen to me. But like I'm thinking like, do you not see what's happening with the wall and like literally like folks like the government taking folks' land for the wall? Like, boo, it can be you too. Yeah. Like
I think for folks though, it's not even that because like when you say like I vote for other people, like I think that's American. That's like when you read the stuff and the findings and the Federalist Papers and that sort of stuff, you actually paid attention in government in your government classes in high school. They talked about like caring for the other person, like all that stuff with Locke and Hobbes and everybody else that comes with that. So I think that there's nothing wrong with those things. I think the problem is, and I saw this on Real Sports this past month, where they talked about we're too busy talking about everybody's great, everybody's special, everyone has this. And it's like, no one knows what it's like to lose. That's the problem. We've literally made it wrong for people to lose, but it's like, you can't be great at everything. It's not fair to everyone else.
Mm. So final thoughts on the night. Start with you, Quiana.
Please go to vote.org. Please, please, look up your local. I know for my Illinoisans, or at least in the city of Chicago, I knew when my ballot was dispatched, it came with a tracking number, and so I could log on to see. Okay, it's made it from the mail center to okay, so the carrier guy got it. Because I didn't check my mail yesterday, but I think it's been sitting in my box since yesterday. But today I was like, I need to go and get this out the box. And one of the reasons that I do and have been voting this way is so I can sit and do my homework about these judges. I think that is what go left. We know all of the big names like what senator who my who I want in the House of Representatives, all those things. But when we get to the judges, it's like a deer in headlights. And if you need to if you're going to vote in person, have your notes with you. Like when you in your little cubby, in that moment, like no one is rushing you. Take all the time that you need so that if you need your little sheet. And the primaries, I voted in person. I had my little sheet of, okay, here's my sample ballot of who I needed to identify, like these were who the judges are. Ask those questions. I think if you post a message out on Facebook, somebody can tell you something about what you need to do and what direction you need to go so that you know how to vote, and then also what other things that may be on your ballot for your area. It's real out here, as we have been saying. Looking forward to a real debate, real common sense people, because Mike Pence is a lot of things, but he can at least have a conversation and engage in a debate. And a formidable candidate is Kamala, and she's gonna be ready, and so he needs to be afraid, very afraid.
Letitia.
Off the websites, ballotopedia.org or .com is a space that you can go and look up in your state about who's on the ballot, what's on the ballot, where does this person stays, and that sort of stuff, how they go on stuff. But also check to make sure you are registered on USA.gov so that you understand that, so you can know that you're registered before the registration deadlines, which are coming soon and shortly. Lastly, I would say also, just to piggyback off Quiana, look at everything. I'm in the state of Pennsylvania, so my vote really does matter, and that sort of stuff. And I'm voting by mail because I plan on volunteering and sending stuff. I was telling my mom that I kind of want to just go around and give people snacks during the thing while they're standing in line, because it's just like, hey, some of these things were 2 or 3 hours, and it's just something to that level. As for me, also, if you want to, because I don't mind talking to people about it, I actually will be talking with Towson University tomorrow about voting and the Voting Rights Act at noon. Definitely contact me. You can DM me here. I don't care. Add me. You can say you saw me on the deep end. Or follow me on Twitter at Professor Tajuva and ask me and help if you need questions with stuff, because at this point, we need all education is one of the primary things about this. And I know for a fact that I've been talking to Antonio about this, but this is what I'm looking at my PhD on, is looking at how are we educating students so they understand what their rights are and how their rights are, and what does this mean, and how does this mean, and what does that look like in the context of a university, and being able to do that stuff and looking at stuff, because understanding the University of Georgia saying it's okay to have their almost all black male squad play football, but we'll close down the largest polling in the city of Athens, says a lot about your state and understanding the state elections. So that to me is what I want to say, and I'm looking forward to some edges being snatched. I hope Kamala Harris wears Tim's. I kind of want her to wear Tim's and that sort of stuff. I want folks to just ask questions. At this point, I'm like, yo, ask me a question, and I'm okay with having this conversation about folks about things. But that's just that. And I I hope something. I hope a miracle comes through on November. I hope there's a miracle in November.
Tamika.
So a couple things to piggyback. Do your research. No, I mean, I think there's a big piece of remembering during this process of like it's not just a presidential election, but all the things that come on your ballot. So as was brought up already, like you can take the time to look up your ballot, and a lot of times I will print off my ballot and like highlight who I'm voting for, yes, no, because some things can get a little tricky for how folks do wording around some things. And then also, if you have not done it, it's also make sure you have completed your census. Like these things do so much and have so much effect on our lives. Like speaking this is determines how many representatives we have. Like folks,
Absolutely.
just take the time, and if you have someone who's not registered, I'm good. I have made sure folks who aren't voting are voting this year.
I am
I've helped people
registrar
fill out they fill out their
person.
stuff to be like, this is what we're doing, because I ain't got time for games. So just get your stuff in, get it done, and do your research. And I'm looking forward to the next debates. Our future VP holding it down. D9 Soros, I see how we do. And yes. Thank you for this lovely evening of entertainment.
I appreciate y'all so much. And again, y'all have said everything. Again, we're voting in a national election and we're voting local, right? Understand the whole ballot, the top of the ticket and all the way down. There's enough time between now and November 3rd or whenever you're going to vote, mail in your vote, to understand who's on your ballot. We shared two great resources, vote.org, ballotopedia.org, great places. Also on Facebook. Facebook has a town hall center where if you're on the app, you can figure out who's running in your area and whatever. So the election crew will be back on October the 7th, coming back for our next one. If you are watching this, and I'll say bye to y'all for a second as I wrap up here. But as we are wrapping up here, if you are coming on to the show and you just caught the tail end, this will be available here on it's available here on my page. You can catch this whole segment again. If you just want to listen to it as you work or work out or whatever, we're available on the podcast, The Deep End with Antonio, Spotify, Apple, whatever your favorite podcast platform is. Check us out, listen to the whole thing. But again, thanks to our loyal audience. Y'all have been so loyal sticking with us, the election crew. We love y'all. Continue to tune in. Click like, click share. We'll be reading the comments in the next couple of days. But October 7th, we'll be right back here again for the next episode of The Deep End. Tune in and tell a friend. All right? Have a good one.